Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan, he's a Corgi, and this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And we're continuing our talks today about therapy and service dogs. And today I want to focus on how to know if your dog is a good potential therapy dog. Now, this does not mean that your dog might not be a good therapy dog down the line. As I've mentioned many times, many dogs after age 8 are great therapy dogs who would not have been great therapy dogs when they were 3. So, and also, as I've mentioned, if you have a young dog under the age of 1 and he fails the test, you can take it again when he's older. And in fact, you have to for TDI, because puppies are also not great therapy dogs. They're growing, they're learning, the world is so new to them. They have so much going on with themselves that they are not the ideal therapy dog as much as they are cute. And it could be actually pretty stressful on a young puppy trying to do therapy. So, therapy work can be tiring and stressful for many dogs. And some dogs have personalities that will make it hard for them to be good therapy dogs, even though they seem on the surface like they'd be good therapy dogs. Therapy dogs are not jumpy, bouncy, happy, outgoing, necessarily dogs. They are much better when they're calmer, more collected, outgoing, yes, happy, yes, but not jumping on people, frantic tail wagging, knocking down the furniture, and barging into a room. A great therapy dog quietly walks into a room, clearly smiling and happy to be there, maybe wearing some cute bandana, and they walk up to the person and let the person interact with them. So a young dog is not necessarily a great therapy dog. A therapy dog has to keep his feet on the ground, because people in a lot of these vulnerable populations, even children, if you're going into reading programs, they're small, you don't want your dog knocking them over. And in nursing homes, hi Joyce, people are attached to IVs or have catheters going down their legs, all kinds of things. So even your dog jumping on someone's leg can be really disruptive to some medical apparatus. So you got to be really careful. So it's important that your dog be quiet and enthusiastic in a quiet way. Your dog has to love people, really love people, because being a therapy dog is about being a people dog. That dog is one that is going to be so happy to meet new people. My little neighbor dog, Coco, boy, I took her for a walk for a few minutes the other day while we were waiting for her mother, and she saw a person come down the street, and she went trotting up to greet the person, and then the person went down, turned around, and came back. And when Coco saw that person again, she was so enthusiastic, like it was her best friend she had known her whole life. That's the kind of thing you want in a therapy dog, that enthusiasm for any person. And Coco would be a great therapy dog. She's adorable, and she's little, and she's very well mannered. So having a dog that loves people is critical for being a good therapy dog. You want a dog that is not just tolerant of visitors at your house, but enthusiastic and really likes them. And my dog does not light up when I come home. You know, sometimes I have to go find him, but he does love to greet me when I do find him. And that kind of dog who's a little more laid back like that is usually a better therapy dog, but not always. Many therapy dogs, like Coco, will greet her mom at the door when she arrives. The other thing you have to think about is that your dog has to like more people than just you. Many dogs love their person, and that's one of the things we love about them. But your dog has to like other people too. A friend of mine reported that she was somewhere where there was a therapy dog in a nursing home, and a lovely person was there with their dog, and they just spent the whole time petting their own dog and talking about the dog with a senior citizen, but the senior citizen wasn't interacting with the dog. That's not therapy. It may be nice for the person to see a dog, but it's about the interaction of the client with the dog, the patient with the dog, not about your relationship with the dog. So you do need a dog like Coco who's going to be really interested in other people as much as she's interested in her mom, and spend attention and time with other people. So Therapy dogs need to voluntarily walk up to strangers and make an effort to be friends with them. And that's where Tristan is not the best therapy dog. He'll do it, but I can tell he's not thrilled in all cases. Now, at the veterans home where I'll be teaching yoga this morning, where there's a lot of senior men, Tristan really likes men, so he goes right up to those people. And it was interesting. I had started him out early on working with me with people with cancer and going to cancer support groups and being around people with cancer. And as many of you know, dogs can smell cancer. And I don't know what that's like for a dog to smell that, but it was interesting when Tristan was a little teeny guy, less than a year old, maybe 11, 10 months. I brought him to the veterans home where I was working. And the first people that he bonded with were the fellows that had cancer. And in fact, one little small man in a little wheelchair, Tristan just loved that man. And the guy was a great guy. He had been a pastor and deeply faithful to his religion, his Catholicism, and he had several kinds of cancer. And boy, the minute Tristan saw Jim, he tore across the area to be with Jim and followed him attentively. And then another fellow came in later in the afternoon who also had just been diagnosed with another kind of cancer. And Tristan, like that guy who was a big kind of burly guy, totally different from Jim, Tristan immediately wanted to work with people with cancer. And I think that's good boy, because he's comfortable with that, because that's what he knew. So it's important that you find the kind of population your dog likes. My mom's dog is great with seniors, but my mom was a first grade teacher, and her dog actually prefers kids to seniors, even though my mom's now a senior. And so her dog is a better therapy dog for a reading group than for a nursing home visit, although she's so great she could do either. So it's important to know that your dog's response to people isn't, they're just another person here. You don't want them to just be tolerant. You want to get the feeling that your dog really embraces and likes other people. The way Coco was running up to that lady the second time she saw her, she just loves people, and her owner has said many times that she'll get in the car with anyone. And in fact, when she's been lost when she was younger, I have opened my car door and brought her home because I've seen her where she shouldn't be. So in fact, that's a good thing for some dogs, but a great thing for a therapy dog. You want him to not just love everyone and knock a senior citizen out of their wheelchair, but you want your dog to happily, kindly greet people and really want to do the work. And that's pretty obvious for people. And again, this happens a lot when the dogs are older. They've met a lot of people by then. They found out people are great. They often have treats. They make their people happy. So, hey, what's not to like? So a lot of dogs become great therapy dogs when they're older. And you have to notice the difference between what your dog is displaying as good manners and what is innate in your dog's personality. Some dogs, like one of my friends at the nursing home, she has a new border collie who's mannerly and polite because she's a really good obedience dog. But she is not a dog looking to make connections. She'll sit there and kind of like tolerate having someone with her. But she's not the same as the woman's other therapy dog, who really like wags a little bit, interacts with the person, her eyes light up, and she kind of moves her head closer, like pet me, pet me. That's the kind of dog you want as a therapy dog, who will be really successful and happy. Her new dog will probably learn to be a therapy dog at some point, but being a young border collie, she has a lot of other interests besides being a therapy dog right now, like herding the person's sheep. So it's really important that you know the difference between when your dog's being polite and when his personality is really outgoing and he really wants to connect with other people. So also, your dogs need to be careful around people that have a lot of physical issues. And again, that's why a lot of older dogs are better, because they're not as wanting to run and jump up on people. And a lot of little dogs are great, even starting when they're younger. So dogs also need to be emotionally calm. that means that they don't panic if somebody grabs them like this and hugs them really tight. See, Tristan's not happy, but he's not panicking. He just made a little squeak like, uh-oh, that's not the greatest thing. And see how nervous he is now after I did that? He's kind of like, uh-oh. And so you don't want a dog who is going to have a complete panic attack when I do this to him, because this is what people do to their dogs at therapy settings. He's not happy, but he's not misbehaving in any way. So that's a good thing. But it would be very stressful for him to put up with that all day, which is one reason I don't bring him to places with lots of children, because as a therapy dog, because that is really hard on him. So you have to have a dog whose personality is calm, like Tristan's. He's basically a good boy all of the time, and he doesn't get overly excited. So, for instance, if you're even visiting in a nursing home, which happens a lot, often around the holidays of one kind or another, you'll be visiting with a senior, and suddenly his daughter and grandchildren will come in. They're 3 years old. They've got their toys. They're carrying cards they made for grandpa and things, and there's a lot of like kid energy in the room. You need a dog who can stay calm during that time, because he might even be, like if he's little, on the bed next to the senior or next to his wheelchair, and you don't want the dog to get all excited to play with the kids, because the kids are going to be excited to see the dog. So you need your dog to remain calm and emotionally calm, and that's important, because that's going to allow you to interact with your dog in a way to keep him safe and successful in these settings. So, part of it is, and this is on the test that we went over the other day, how quickly your dog regains composure after he interacts with something that might be a little alarming, like 3 kids coming in, flapping their big cards and, saying, oh, a dog, can I pet the puppy? You want your dog to, when you say to the children, great to see your grandpa, huh? And get them calmed down a little bit. You want your dog to recover as well and to sit politely. Maybe the kids love to do tricks with dogs, so I like to have them shake the dog's hand or something like that, because then they are also having to do the trick of being quiet and sitting at the dog's level. So having a dog that knows a few little extra tricks can be a good thing. Sit and down and make a circle, things like that. So a therapy dog is emotionally calm, physically calm, and it can easily be calmed down when they have been overly excited. So sometimes dogs have good reasons for being cautious, but that's not, if they get a little nippy or excited or try to squirm away, the dog usually has a good reason for doing that. But a dog in those situations is not going to be in a good therapy dog situation. You need to recognize if your dog gets a 3-year-old Labrador who might be a great therapy dog, he might get really excited with small children because he's got small kids at home that play with him. So when you see those little kids coming in to greet Grandpa, flapping their big cards and saying, Grandpa, Happy Easter or whatever, you need your dog to be able to pay attention to you and be calm so that he will not be getting all excited and not being successful in his therapy visit that day. Many seniors sit quietly and stroke the dog and kiss the dog, but there are some people that will occasionally do what I just showed you with Tristan, holding their face really tight or squeezing them like this. And you need a dog to recover like Tristan did and be like, ooh, what are you doing here? And you also need yourself to pay attention and say, he looked a little nervous. Maybe we don't want to hug him so much. So then you just move him a little bit. You can't always tell the people what to do, and they can't always understand or hear what you're saying. But you can reposition your dog so that he's in a little better situation. So your therapy dog is calm and loves people and wants to tolerate all kinds of rude things that might happen to him. But you need to make sure that your dog is as least stressed as possible. And part of that is your training and your experience with him and making all of his experiences really positive. So, hugging can make a lot of dogs nervous, but if you hug them and then give them a treat afterwards, they will start to think that that's not such a threatening thing as some dogs think it is. So make sure you find a dog that's a good fit for the program. Like I said, it can be any breed of dog, a mutt, a Rottweiler, a Pit Bull, a Shih Tzu, a mixed breed, big dog, little dog. I've known some great Pyrenees and Bernese Mountain Dogs that were really good. Therapy dogs, St. Bernards. People love the big dogs. So if you have a large dog, don't think, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard to transport him and get him in and out of the place. And, that's not a problem. People love the big dogs. There's a St. Bernard that I know at one of the nursing homes where I work sometimes. And boy, he is popular. People just love the big dogs and the little cute ones too. So don't be shy about what your breed is. Just make sure your dog's personality is a good fit to do this kind of work. And it's your job to help your dog not be stiff and nervous and, looking alarmed. Some people will say, oh, he's a great therapy dog, but then you look at him and he's like, he's not interacting with the person. He's looking nervous. And sometimes dogs are like that when they first come in and they don't know what's going on, or if their first interaction with somebody had been a little grabby. But you need a dog that can calm down and really be enjoying his visits. And one of the things you can do to help your dog is some of these ear slides, these T-touch ear slides, and just the little T-touches on his mouth. These two T-touches in particular go to the emotional center of the brain and can really help your dog calm down if he's too excited or he's a little too nervous. And I like to, I'm a physical therapist, so I can do this too, but I like to have people learn T-touches on themselves. And I say to them, you want to learn a little dog massage, let me show you on yourself, and then I'll show you how to do it on my dog. And that's a great way to interact with some of the more outgoing people. As you might have seen in that video about Comet, all Comet did was walk in the room and the guy immediately interacted with him. And that happens a lot. And Comet, was like a straight beeline over to that man's bed. He knew he needed him and he went. And lots of great therapy dogs will do that. And if they're just new to the job, you can really help them by reducing their stress with some of the ear and mouth T-touches, which you can see on YouTube under the old episodes of Conversations with a Corgi going back to like number 25. So it's really important to understand your dog and the signals he's telling you about what his level of stress is. And some dogs might be able to be visiting for hours and hours, and other dogs might only be able to do an hour and a half. And that's fine. Whatever your dog likes to do is perfect for him. Again, I spend a lot of time in hospice care for people, and that's a very quiet time, but it's emotionally wrought for the people around you. And so that can be stressful for dogs too, even though they are not meeting so many people and not interacting so much. So you have to really be aware of what your dog needs. After my dog's done therapy work, I love to take him outside and let him roll in the grass and let him play and run around and, chase him a little bit and kind of bring up his kinetic energy, his movement, to try to release some of the stress and the whatever from the emotional state of the people around him in the nursing home. And that's really important too, to give your dog a little bit of excitement when he comes out of there and let him be, fully whoever he is without necessarily having to be careful, because that can be really tiring. So, many dogs get used to doing therapy work and they look forward to it, and they'll be sitting by the kitchen door with their leash in their mouth waiting for you to bring them every Wednesday at 11 or whenever they go to their visits. And it can be a great experience for you. Helping a child read who is struggling with learning disabilities can be amazing, to have a dog there. And there's so many great little books. You might be able to find some children's books about your particular breed of dog. Of course, we have the Carl books with Rottweilers, and I have quite a few little children's Corgi books. And I like to tell them stories about Corgis and the fairies and the Corgis. So whatever your breed of dog is, I know Coco's a Cairn Terrier. Oh, how do we know them? They were in The Wizard of Oz. So we can talk about that. If you've seen the movie, you might get a little picture book that'll have pictures of Coco's in there. So whatever your dog breed is, that's a nice thing to bring, to have reading time with children. A lot of people bring a therapy dog into the library to read to children. And if you're going into a school program, often the kids, have their own books. But still, it can be so rewarding for you and your dog to do this work. You will meet some of the most amazing people, and I've had so many seniors tell me stories that they have not told anyone for 50, 60, 70 years because of the presence of a dog. Dogs are unconditional listeners and unconditional with love, and a lot of seniors really need that. So this work with a therapy dog can be profound, and it can really help you. But it's important for you to make sure your dog is really carefully trained and really loves his job and has a good time with it, and that you too have a good time with it. It can make a big change in your life to have a therapy dog and to also help the lives of many people around you. And remember, when you're with your dog and you're in person, to smile and gaze at your dog, and to engage the person to smile as well, because smiling and gazing releases oxytocin, the trust hormone, and serotonin, the feel-good hormone, in both you and your dog and the person that the dog is interacting with. So smiling and gazing at the person and the dog can really help all three of you have a positive interaction. So tomorrow we will continue on and look at what emotional support animals are. There's been a little bit of that in the news, and it's a confusing topic for a lot of people. So thanks for joining us today, where we looked at some of the qualities you want to look for in a dog that could be a great therapy dog. And if your dog doesn't have any of these qualities, it doesn't mean he won't when he's older, or that you can't work with him and help him find his inner therapy dog. Because lots of dogs, once they understand the work, they just rise to the challenge and do it perfectly. One of my dogs, I can't even remember which one it was, Winston or Comet, was a little bit jumpy on people, like they like to put their feet up on people. When they took that therapy dog test, they never put their feet up. And when I brought them to nursing homes, never put their feet up. But if a person comes to my house and sits in a chair, there's a dog with their feet up. So they know, they understand their jobs, and they do them really well. So it's a great, great thing, and especially at this time of year, to be thinking about working with your dog as a therapy dog, to do visits at nursing homes and schools and libraries and children's hospitals and many of the other places where therapy dogs have roles in our lives, like our dogs in the Hartford airport. Yay! All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Everybody have a great day. We're going to go teach yoga at the nursing home in a little while. Biscuit. Sue Binger says you're handsome, Tristan. He says thank you. He's feeling handsome today. He likes his little blue tie. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your day. We'll see you tomorrow.